Hello friends, welcome to Master Japheth's channel, home of all past questions. Now today we'll be treating a Unilag post-UME past question, and this question has been a challenge to a lot of students. So I'll be answering this question real quick. This question says, Anne goes swimming regularly. She wants to improve her fitness, so she decides to swim 10 lengths in the first session. This is an important point, but let's see. And increase the number of lengths she swims by 2. So it means on the first day she swim how many lengths? 10 lengths. So and she increased the number of lengths she swim by 2. So it means on the second day probably she swim what? 12 lengths. Do you understand? That's an increase by 2. On the fourth day she swim how many? 14 lengths. Now hear what they said. They said when she reaches 50 lengths in a session, she will not increase the number any further. Meaning, as we keep increasing, there's a point when she gets to 50 lengths of swimming, she will not increase the number any further. So, meaning she will stop at what? 50. That is the maximum she will swim. But hear what they said. They said Anne decides she will give herself a reward when she has swum a total of 400 lengths. Meaning that when we calculate all these lengths she has swim, in total, it should give us what? 400 lengths. That when she gets to that point, she will give herself a what? A reward. Now the question says, after how many sessions? So they're asking which day will she give herself that what? Reward. Let's do that. Let's start adding up. 10, 12, 14, the next one, 16, the next one, what? 18. When are we going to get there? And not only that, we are going to be adding all of them to see that it gets up to what? 400. That is 10 plus 12 give us 22. Plus, this procedure is going to take a lot of time. There's a mathematical procedure for that. And that procedure is, we are going to use the arithmetic progression. The first formula arithmetic progression have is that, meaning that if we have series of number going like this, A is the first number. Are you getting that? So we can replace A is called the word, the first term here, the first position. N is the position. This one is first position, second position. So imagine we are talking about 14 now. Are you getting that? Imagine we are talking about 14. We'll say, okay, for 14 is in what position? 14 is in the third position. Okay. And minus 1. Every number here is higher than the other by 2, or is increasing by 2, or decreasing by 2. So that number is called the common difference. So if you look at every number here is increasing by 2. So the common difference here is what? 2 plus. Remember, we are talking of a number 14. Since we are talking of a number 14, we write 14 here. And A is our first term, 10. But this is not the formula we'll be using. I just want to show you in case you are in a position where you have to use this one. The one we are going to be using is this one. This is it. This is the formula we are going to be using. Now, pause the video, like, share, subscribe so that you watch more of this, and write down this formula down, because we are going to use this formula to know when she will get to what? 400 length in total summation. This one is called the sum of this. We use this formula to find when you sum all this up. The question says when she gets to a summation of 400. That is after summing up this up. This is where it is summation of 400. So we'll write summation of 400 equals, they're asking when, how many, after how many sessions, which is when, the day n. Are you getting that? Over 2 bracket 2. Our first in this term, just like I said here, is what? 10. We are still looking for the n, which is our how many session. Remember, the common difference in each of them is what? 2. Do you get that? So let's solve this. What we are going to do is to do what? Cross multiply. That's the first operation. You know what that means? We use this 2 to multiply this. Since this 2 is the only number in the denominator, are you getting that? And it's added to this with the multiplication. So we use this 2 to multiply this. Are you getting that? So we're having 2 times 400. So we now eliminated 2 from the denominator, and what we are left with is everything on top, which is called the numerator, we'll be having n 2 10 n minus 1 2 5. You get that? So let's multiply that. 2 times 400 will give us what? 800 equals to, okay, let's open this bracket carefully. Starting from the one inside, 2 times 10 is what? 20. And you see, I started with the one inside, which is 20, plus 2 times, open this bracket, 2 times n is what? 2n. 2 times this one will give us what? Minus 2. You can see this 2, I use it to multiply this, I use it to multiply this. Why? Because this 2 is attached to this without a plus or minus separating it. So we now have 800 equals, now we can use this n to open everything. So we'll be having n times this, we'll be having what? 20n. N times this, we'll be having 2n squared, because n times n is what? N squared. You get that? So we have n times minus 2 give us what? Minus 2n. You get that? So now we have 800 equals, this has n, this one has n, this one has n squared. So this and this are alike. So we'll be having this and this to work together. That is 20n minus 2n, which is going to give us 18n, because they are like terms. This one has n squared, is different from the one that has only n. So we'll be having plus 2n squared. You get that? So we can carry this 800 to this side. So we'll be having, you know, when we carry this 800 to this side, we'll be having 0 here. 0 equals, let's say we'll be having minus 800, plus is here, plus 18n plus 2n squared. You get that? Now we have to solve this using quadratic equation method. But because of the time of this video, let's use calculator to solve that very fast. I hope you know how to use calculator. Let's solve that. Our first a, which is this one, will be having 2. Our b is 18. So 2 you write equals to 18 is our b. Our c, you press equal to next. Our c is what? Minus 800. Always write the sign. You know this one has plus plus. That's why I didn't write them. So minus 800. Minus 800. You get that? So 18 minus 800. So you just solve it for us. Boom. So the first one we have is 16. The next one we have is 25. So x or n equals to what? 16. And the next one it gave us is n equals to what? Minus 25. Later in other videos, I'm going to teach you how to solve quadratic equation. But because I want to make this video very short, that's why I use calculator method. So we have our n as 16. It means on the 16th day, she would have done a total of what? 400 length. That is when you add all this up to 16. Because let's say 20, you get carry on until you get to 16 day, she would have done a total of 400 length. So the right answer in this question is what? 16. See you in other videos. Make sure you like and do what? Share for others to what? Learn. This is Unilag Past Question. I am Master Japhet. Thank you.